Rasmus Bech Hansen, founder and CEO of the data service provider Airfinity, has an overview of vaccine development in the corona crisis like no other. The Dane describes what went badly in the EU and how things could go better in the future. Rasmus Bech Hansen lives on numbers. The data service provider Airfinity, founded by him, supplies governments, scientific institutions, banks and pharmaceutical manufacturers with data from the health sector. The London-based company has specialized in COVID-19 since the outbreak of the pandemic. How many orders have been placed by manufacturers for vaccines, when production will be ramped up, whether the EU will keep its vaccination promise, these are the questions that Bech Hansen and his colleagues were concerned with. The data gives an unusually clear picture of what the EU has done wrong with vaccine procurement. The EU tried to solve a supply problem with demand. In Germany, criticism of the EU Commission has long been focused on the question of whether Brussels ordered the vaccine too late. For Bech Hansen, the central problem lies elsewhere. The EU has limited itself to purchasing vaccines, and insufficient attention is paid to ramping up production. Neither the EU Commission nor the Member States noticed that a negotiating mandate that was merely the obtaining vaccine that was contained in the mandate was too tight. The USA, but also UK, made early investments in clinical trials and production capacities. The EU only came into play after the third phase of clinical trials and then secured supplies at the expense of others, said Bech Hansen. The UK government's early financial support for AstraZeneca is arguably one of the reasons the company is keeping its UK delivery promises while deliveries to the EU have been cut. If the EU had copied the negotiating structure of the Brexit, it would be better off now. To date, it is not known who exactly negotiated the supply contracts for the EU and who, on the part of the member states, watched over the negotiations. At the head of the negotiators was Sandra Gallina, an EU official who had previously only concluded trade deals. During Brexit, there were clear responsibilities with a well-known person at the top, emphasizes Bech Hansen. It is still not too late to hand over the management of vaccination procurement to a distinguished personality. Other countries have done this with success. In Monkeslawi, the USA had acquired a pharmaceutical manager with many years of experience in the vaccination business for their Operation Warp Speed. The British turned the organization of the vaccination campaign over to venture capital manager Kate Bingham, who specialized in the industry. Biosecurity, including protection against pandemics, is a classic task of the military. Armed forces play an important role in vaccination campaigns in many countries, observes Bech Hansen. In Great Britain, for example, Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced that the army would use techniques such as preparing for a combat mission to keep the rate of vaccination high. Individual EU countries have used the military to fight the pandemic. There is no serious dovetailing in Brussels because defense, like health, is a national competence. Without the development of the army, it is difficult to respond comprehensively to the pandemic, says Bech Hansen. In the fight against the pandemic, you have to be mobile like in a war. Then a completely different urgency arises. And how does it continue? Bech Hansen warns that politicians focus too much on vaccination. Therapeutics, keeping a distance, and tests including sequencing will play an important role for a long time to come, he says. The Dane still has some good news. The goal of vaccinating 70% of Europeans by summer is achievable. His analysts have calculated that 75% could be vaccinated in September. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and to my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.